what would happen if a beginner were to speedrun Goat Simulator for 10 days straight? How good can he get? And will he lose his mind? So I've always enjoyed watching speedrunning content from the likes of Ludwig, Small Ant, Easy Speezy and many more. And after falling deeper into the rabbit hole, understanding the right timer to use and what website to go to for submitting times, I'd figured I'd give it a try myself and see how far I can get up the leaderboards. As someone with no past experience of speedrunning his entire life, it only makes sense to try and get the world record in Goat Simulator, right? I mean, how hard can it really be? What? So I've always enjoyed playing games but was never really considered a good player. So I want to go all in on this and see how far I can push myself, because honestly, I'm sick of always falling short in the things I do. I want to accomplish my goal this time and not procrastinate. I will be tracking progress on a day-to-day basis, understanding the game mechanics, best route to take, as well as any skips that would benefit my speedruns. So prior to setting this goal, I spent a collective of 4 days dipping my toes, getting used to the controls, as well as learning the speedrun. The speedrun that I'll be doing is level 1 of Goat Simulator, which is Goatville, where you have to collect all 30 trophies scattered around the map as fast as possible. And so I began watching a video of the speedrun and doing it myself, little by little. Then it hit me. I realised that I had a lot of work ahead of me. While speedrunners make the process look easy and effortless, actually doing it is hard and sometimes frustrating. For instance, I would land the jump, then shortly after, mess up, get angry, oh my god! Reset, and repeat this whole process for the whole day. Which takes me into day 1, where I decided to complete my first ever run and see how long it would take from beginning to end. And it took 31 minutes and 49 seconds. Like, what? Right, it took me so long because of me not knowing the entire speedrun yet. So I had to stop at each area, tab out, and watch the speedrun itself to know where to go next. But the average time on the leaderboards is around 5 minutes. So there were a lot of things to work on around the map. But first, it was the power line jump. To make things easy to understand, let's name the goat Billy. So in order to get a time efficient landing on top of the power line, Billy, the goat, needs to activate Ragdoll at the right time after getting launched from the fan. Activate it too early, he flies to the moon. Too late, he falls to his death. And once I understood this concept, I began working on this single area for the rest of day 1. Plus the hopping onto the cable itself and running along it, because it was another challenge that I had to overcome. No! So for day 2, I wanted to focus on actually completing the run instead of ending them early, because after reading up on a forum on speedrun.com, I realised it would be best for me to end late rather than early for the time being. While resetting early means less time is wasted on the bad runs, late reset allows for more practice on later parts of the run, and overall more opportunities to make up time and still finish strong. As much as I like being a perfectionist, this was the best option for me at this stage, even though I hate making mistakes. But I just had to suck up and just do it, I guess. So to the best of my ability, I tried restricting myself from hitting the resets button, and well, it was hard not to. It just gave me a very uncomfortable feeling, having to press on when I can do something about it. Almost like taking a shit and not wiping, you know? Now, granted, I've never actually done this before, so don't assume anything, but I just imagine walking around with crusty bum cheeks would be a very undesirable feeling. And I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. Anyways, this was when I made a couple of rules for myself to follow. I could only reset when I mess up on big jumps that would take too long for me to recover from. For example, the power line. Or when I keep failing the same part repeatedly and getting triggered. Like the part when I had to jump and strafe into a window to get the trophy. Yeah, that part was painful. But those were the 2 rules that I would stick to. So with a bit of focus and discipline, I eventually achieved a new PB of 4 minutes and 47. Right, so the timer ended at 4 minutes and 56 because I spent the 9 seconds trying to find the stop button on the keyboard. I'm new to this, so just leave me alone. But anyways, this was my delayed reaction to finding out that I was 7th in the world. Go through, that just means I'm 7th in the world. Yes! Major improvements from 31 minutes, by the way, and also 1 step closer to the world record. Like, I can't lie, I felt great at this point. I think the biggest challenge for today though was the trampoline jump onto the roof, where Billy had to jump, bounce off the trampoline onto the roof, and then bounce off the chimney to collect the trophy underneath the bell. This was sometimes annoying to do because for some reason I would get caught in this area and struggle to get out. I don't know what it was, maybe Billy's fat head, who knows. So I decided to practice off stream and put time in when no one was watching. And oh boy, today was just not it. Maybe the start of my day wasn't the greatest, but it's no excuse to play this bad. I think bad is an understatement, to be honest, because I was messing up on the easiest jumps, taking the wrong turns, and eventually losing my patience. Oh man, that's pissing me off. And upon realizing my performance wasn't making any improvements, I, instead of hitting the reset button, decided to do it in real life and stop playing for the time being. After a few hours of pondering and realizing what I got myself into, I bit the bullet and returned to figure out cues for certain jumps, like the crane into the blue container, where the only indication on when to jump is if I counted to 2 seconds. Sometimes it worked, others it didn't. And I forgot to jump. I forgot to jump. I fucking forgot to jump! But that's only if I can make it up there in the first place, because prior to the crane is a fan, which is very much luck based. And also very annoying, because to get the height of the launch, Billy needs to ragdoll on the side of the fan and just hope it works. I thought a silly game like this would be quite fun to speedrun, but I guess I was wrong, because it was slowly becoming a headache to play. However, despite the struggle, I persevered and achieved another PB of 4 minutes and 28. Yes! Yes! 19 seconds faster than my previous. Very nice. Up until now, I had only been watching the speedrun of the previous world record holder, which belonged to Easy Speezy. But after admiring my name on their leaderboards for some time, it was probably a good idea to watch the current fastest if I ever wanted a shot at the world record. So I did exactly that, and after some intensive analysis, dissecting every pixel of goat cheeks, I realised that there were things I could definitely tighten up on, as well as another route that I could take in the later part of the run for potentially a faster time. Now motivated than ever, I applied everything I had learned by copying every jump and turn to the best of my ability, but it just wasn't going my way. Maybe it was practicing off stream, maybe it was the bad lighting, you know, but I was starting to see the recurring theme here. Nevertheless, I continued grinding on stream, finished the run, and my dumbass thought I hit a PB. Wait, 412, yes! Yes! 412! I was oblivious to the fact that I had missed one trophy towards the end of the run, but at the time my brain didn't even register this, and was even annoyed for not moving up the leaderboards. Fucking mistakes! I continued playing horribly to the point where I was starting to question my ability. Why am I fucking skidding my bum on the fucking tin roof? Stop! And then, upon reaching the middle section of the run, I arrived at a withered tree with a trophy on top. A challenge that had ended a lot of my attempts of record-breaking time. Let me explain. So in order to reach the top where the trophy was, Billy, the goat, needed enough room to jump and run up the tree. Otherwise, the wall run mechanic won't activate. It took me a while to grasp this concept, but after analysing some footage and making slight adjustments, the challenge of climbing the tree became easier to overcome. While I was becoming more consistent throughout the beginning and middle section of the run, the end was something I had to work on, because it was clear I was making too many mistakes. So, to achieve greater speed, I needed to be more efficient. And the game plan was to practice the end of the run off stream and do what I'm best at, which is zoning out. Doing the same thing over and over again, until I get a hang of it. But, as always, I procrastinated. And of course, the feeling of guilt weighed on me afterwards.
A few moments later.
The harder areas like controlling my landing onto the crane to squeezing into the blue storage container was becoming easier to do, which gave me enough confidence to keep on pushing. My only problem though was things like the robot guarding the trophy that I needed. I can confirm it did its fucking job, and access denied me more times than I could count. Come on! No! Yes! No! Fuck you! Why? Just another day of life throwing shit in my face, I guess. But, as someone who's used to that feeling, I kept on trying until I got the result I wanted. Which was, only managing to complete 2 runs the entire session of speedrunning. None of which were PBs, sadly, because while I did make mistakes along the way, it wasn't what really stopped me from achieving a personal best. It was bad luck. I tried not to let that discourage me though, because I knew the importance of consistency and continuing to show up every single day, even when things weren't going my way, would eventually pay off. For day 6, I avoided procrastination like the plague, because after being reminded that feeling of guilt, I felt like a bitch, I can't lie. So I began practicing the end of the run this time off stream. The warehouse was arguably the hardest part given how little I had been through here with all the resets I had. So I began testing the difference between the 2 routes and realised that the world record run was 4 seconds faster for this area. 16 seconds to 12 seconds. It was also easier to clear because it would avoid me crashing into the chairs and ragdolling all over the place. Something that I had to avoid for the sake of my sanity. So with that, I began practicing this area for some time before piecing together the rest of the run and did it over and over again until I felt comfortable. And then it was time to stream. With a resilient mind, honed skills, and good fortune, the world record was mine to claim. So I thought, because I somehow messed up all the basic jumps, the entire stream, and finished only 1 run. Fair enough for only having a number of resets, but come on man! Only having 1 completed run after hours of gameplay is simply ridiculous to me. I don't know, maybe this is like the reality of speedrunning, but it just makes 0 sense to me because, statistically speaking, I'm supposed to play better, right? Like, why am I playing worse when I put in more time into the game than ever before? It makes 0 sense, and I don't understand. This was by far the worst speedrunning session I had, so I got off to mentally reset for tomorrow. At this point I was confident enough with my skill in this game, however there were things simply out of my control that would always ruin a good run, and that is RNG. The number of times I had to reset a run simply because of luck was fucking infuriating. Like this fan here, the worst asset in the game that just doesn't do its job most of the time and launch me up the crane. Or at the vents, where physics in this game are shit and can somehow get you decapitated. No! You stupid god! Man, this what I mean with this fucking RNG pish. Or get sent to the fucking moon? Like, what the fuck, man? But despite all this pain and suffering, I wasn't going to quit. I had made up my mind I was going to get the world record. So giving up just wasn't an option, because what type of person would I be if I were to give up on the slightest of struggle? I am not the person I used to be, and I refuse to run away in the face of adversity. I am a goat. I am the goat. Things were about to change, because I will prevail. So I grabbed that bitch by the balls and with unwavering determination, I smashed it. I achieved a new personal best. Then another one, which landed me 5th on the leaderboards. Let's go! I felt ecstatic. Today, I was the fastest goat. And against all odds, I outran my self-doubts. Oh, I almost forgot. This game has jump scares. Ah! Shit! No! The momentum carried over to day 8 because Billy was flying. I started the stream and shortly after I had finished a run with the same time as my personal best. And the tone was set. Motivation was high and I played out of my mind, achieving PBs one after the other. Yes! 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 I had jumped up 2 places up the leaderboards, which puts me 4th in the span of 2 days. I was over the moon. However, celebrations can be saved for later because time was running out. I needed to urgently close the gap as soon as possible as day 10 was slowly creeping up on me. I now needed to play damn near perfect to be able to reach the higher ranks. So from here on out, it was early resets only. the focus was technique. I put an emphasis on executing moves like ragdolling at the right time, ensuring Billy doesn't fly to the moon, as well as facing the right direction after landing to avoid any unnecessary turns that would ultimately add on time. And while I did achieve some good runs in the beginning, I've come to the realization that there will be days where you just turn up and just play shit. But it's important for me not to be fazed by that outcome and continue to take action every day, because it will be worth it in the end, I think. I can't lie though, resetting early made the game very tilting to play, because I felt like I was just collecting L's one after the other in a short period of time. There just wasn't much of a grace period where I could just chill out and collect myself mentally in like the later parts of the run. I think the pressure from having to be flawless got to me a little, because I was on the forefront of my mind the entire time, and whenever I did well in the beginning, I would later crumble under pressure and fuck up. Please! Or, more often than not, let bad RNG take its course and just ruin it all for me.
Oh no! Oh, for fuck's sake, it's done.
And this was it, my last chance of getting the world record. From not even being on the leaderboards to climbing up to 4th, I had to go all the way and claim that #1 spot. And to achieve this, my first step was to complete the beginning of the run within 40 seconds to maintain world record pace. So I would reset any runs that were over that time, as well as any fuck ups I made in the beginning, because making time back later on was a lot harder given the nature of the speedrun and how luck plays a part in this. And through the countless attempts of maintaining a record breaking time throughout the run, I eventually completed a somewhat of a flawless attempt of 3 minutes and 54, which was a PB, and then another one of 3 minutes and 52.
God damn it!
Which I wasn't happy with because 1, I was still 30 seconds behind the world record, and 2, while I made some minor mistakes along the way, the majority of the added time were from, of course, the bad RNG in this game, like the fans and physics. So I figured from here on out, if I don't get launched correctly the first time round, I would just reset. And I was tunnel visioned. I had created a system to maximise the use of my time I had left of getting the world records, and remained calm and collected throughout. Well, for the most part anyway, because around the 3.5 hour mark, I somehow kept fucking up in the beginning, which was strange. I guess this was me just getting rid of all the bad runs first, because after some headstand push-ups to refresh my gaming ability and a bit of praying,
Please give me strength! I beg of you.
I ended up completing one, which was a good attempt, but just wasn't a PB. Also, the warehouse in the later part of the run was like a final boss that required some skill and a lot of luck to beat. Because every time I was on record breaking time, I would reach the fence, get absolutely fucked by shitty physics, and just lose it all. Like honestly man, I trust an Asian behind a wheel more than the physics in this game. This area was just honestly soul destroying, because not only that, the fans on the roof where I had to ragdoll myself into was also very much luck based due to how fast they were spinning. So it was just impossible for me to time. I tried not to let this affect my mental state though, and would sometimes even continue on just to keep the run alive, but would be shortly reminded that I was just wasting my time. And then, after 8.5 hours in of Goat Simulator, I landed a new PB of 3 minutes and 50, which was only 2 seconds faster than my previous. Now clearly, it wasn't enough. And I wasn't happy. I was fully prepared to keep on going until I had the world record to my name, because I just wasn't going to settle for 4th. I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it, that I could be #1. And despite the hours of failure, one after the other, I kept on pushing, because I had a goal in mind since the very beginning that wake up. You're never going to make it. It's useless. You need to stop being delusional. And louder, enveloping my mind like incessant white noise until it clicked. It just wasn't going to happen. Hurts for me to say this, but the gap between 4th to 1st was just simply too big for me to close in the span of one day. And so, after 10 days of speedrunning Goat Simulator, I only managed to secure 4th on the leaderboards. I failed to accomplish my goal of becoming #1 in Goatville. I may have underestimated how long it would take, but this shit hits harder than not getting an A in maths. I would like to say though, after trying out speedrunning, it does make me want to do more of it in the future. Maybe not a broken game like Goat Simulator, but something else. Any suggestions? But anyways, I'm gonna head off and contemplate life. Yeah. Goodbye.